Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox On channel, host Sega Forever. Sorry I've been out of the loop. I'm dealing with some health issues. But I kind of wanted to do this video. We're just going to jump right into it. Just a media blast, something I picked up on. I think this article came out about a week ago. And I saw it, I bookmarked it because I did want to talk about it. Like I said in the title, man, it's like it's a slow news day. So, of course, anytime when it comes to the gaming media and there's nothing really to report, they're going to talk about Xbox. That's the way it's always been, right? So, and I don't think it's ever going to change, guys. There was times during since 2013, during the last 10, 12 years, that it looks like Microsoft would be able to turn that corner, especially when it came to the gaming media. But it's the same thing every time you watch Charlie Brown, when Lucy holds the football for him and he goes to kick it, and she pulls it away at the last second. That's basically what we're dealing with, and I've accepted that years ago, and I knew that was going to be the case. That's why I do these videos, just to keep you guys updated on what the gaming media is, dude. And it's sad, dude, because the gaming media should be a celebration of video gaming across all spectrums, regardless of console, regardless of company. They're supposed to be the fourth estate. They're supposed to call out these companies when they do stuff that's wrong, report on news like prices being raised, consoles being raised, stuff's being canceled. That's all par for the course. But if you guys are pro Xbox, like how my channel is, guys, you guys know if you've been dealing with this since 2013, that there's a definite slant when it comes to the gaming industry and their news media, and that's what we do on this channel. We report on it. Sorry, I haven't put out any content. So this is one for the books. So I hope you guys like the video, man. Check it out. Please comment in the section below. It won't be a long one, trust me, because I got other stuff to do. But I did want to kind of talk about this because if there's one thing I really enjoy about Xbox right now, it is Game Pass and just the amount of games that they have. Game Pass by far is the best thing that Microsoft is doing, right? Um, and because it drives everything else on the console. Now, I'm not like a lot of Xbox guys that say that's the only important thing that they do. I mean, for me to say that, it takes away from a lot of the stuff that the Xbox division does. Man, Xbox divisions are the only ones putting out shows. We got Gamescom coming out later on at the end of the month. Hopefully, we can check that one out. They got the ID at Xbox program. The amount of studios that they've saved and the project that those studios have that they say they never get credit for. The only time they get any type of attention when it comes to studios is when they shut their studios down, regardless of the fact that every other company is doing the same thing. Regardless of the fact, I talk about this all the time on my channel, that the economy is really bad right now. People don't have disposable income, right? If you guys have been keeping up with stuff outside of gaming, right, just tech in general, you guys know that, man, a lot of these companies are hurting, dude. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Um, Places like Google, Apple, all these places are downsizing or readjusting their personnel and their financial situations across the board. So it's not just Microsoft, but of course, since it is Microsoft, since it is Xbox, since it gets the clicks and the views, and because the media is filled with a bunch of people that are ponies, this is why you get the news that you get. So that's what I try to do on my channel. Try and bring a little bit of truth to light, truth to power, speak truth to power. And we're gonna go over this article real quick. I normally don't do this, but um, we're gonna kind of do a deep dive into this because I found it really interesting, man. That for people that cover gaming and not understanding what gaming truly is, right? Because at the end of the day, man, regardless of the console, right, it is all about the games. And trust me, consoles are important. These services are important. Dude, it's all part and parcel. But if you don't have games, dude, you really don't have anything. And that's one thing I've hated, the narrative that's been out there that Xbox don't have any games. And Xbox always had games, right? And if you guys are pro Xbox, I am. You know that Xbox has always been ahead of the curve when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? Xbox never did anything. Um, they never like when the narrative they had no games. It's not that they didn't have any games. They just had a variety of different types of games, right? So if you listen to a lot of the Sony guys, right, all they care about is those AAA single player games, or that's what they say they care about. Obviously, the rubber doesn't meet the road when it comes to them actually supporting this stuff. That's just this simple fact. That's why their company is in shambles right now, dude, because they bet on the wrong horse and they're trying to course correct. And in this type of economy, it's too late. Where Microsoft took the broad and wider approach. Now, granted, Microsoft is a big company, um, with the Xbox brand, they took that wide approach. Um, and again, full disclosure, Microsoft is a huge company. They have a lot of money, right? So that affords them that ability to kind of shift. But this stuff just didn't fall in their lap, dude. They've been doing this for years, especially the Xbox division, right? And one of the reasons why they've been so successful in the stuff that they've done, especially when it comes to Game Pass and other stuff that they've done, is because they've, it's been trial by fire with these guys, right? That they had to deal with this, man. Like they say, difficult times make strong people, and so that's what happened with Xbox because they never got a fair shake across the board ever since 2013. I mean, they never really did, right? But with 2013, dude, it was absolutely chaotic, dude. And when I look back at that time with the Xbox One launch, I feel really bad because I think at the end of the day, that really set us back, not just as Xbox, but I mean as the industry as a whole, because you have certain narratives that went out there and certain things that people believe, and now flash forward to 2025, dude, and we're behind. We really are. Like a lot of the stuff that's happening in gaming right now, we should be farther ahead, and that's predominantly because, and I'm going to say Nintendo here because Nintendo, but they stay at least they stay in the corner, but definitely because of Sony, right? So when I see articles like that, that's what really irritates me, man. Because these people, guarantee, man, I bet you this that dude doesn't have Game Pass or even an Xbox yet. He has to write a story, and all they do is they just glom on to narratives that are out there, but they never really experience what actually owning an Xbox and actually subscribing to Game Pass actually, really is all about. I mean, for the amount of money that you pay for Game Pass, and I know the price went up, it's probably going to go up some more. I mean, but the value you get out of it, right? That's where the real debate should be on should be at, and it should be influenced by a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world right now, right? Because people are doing that every single day with other stuff. I talk about it on the channel all the time with the economy. When you gotta pick and choose what you're gonna participate in, what hobbies are you gonna have? Maybe something gotta go on the side. Maybe you're gonna keep Netflix, put Paramount on the side until they get more shows, stuff like that. I'm watching Apple right now more than I normally do, right? But I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be forever. There's only a couple subscriptions that keep going just because I utilize the services so much, and Game Pass is right up there with those other services. And the service I'm talking about that I run monthly, and I probably will never take off is Netflix and Crunchyroll. Those two, and they're right up there with them is Game Pass, right? And that's a lot of things. Like this dude doesn't even mention that in this article, right? It's more than just Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony, dude. It's Apple, right? It's Amazon. We talk about this a lot. A lot of the Xbox guys talk about in our group talk about this, right? It is the content wars. That's exactly what it is. That's what happened with Phil Spencer going around buying these studios. But again, dude, you have to face the reality of this economy and how people are spending their money, right? And at the end of the day, you know, which I thought was funny because the big controversy that came out was, of course, contraband being canceled, which totally blew my mind. Like everybody else out there just talking about this thing. The people only focusing on this kind of stuff is people in the media and people that don't own Xboxes. I see other Xbox guys, they're like, oh, that's too bad, right? But like for somebody like me, it didn't really bother me on that level. The only reason I'm actually bringing this up is because it's part of the news cycle. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when the video launched, dude, and the showcase was spectacular. It was stellar, right? And then they launched this trailer. Nobody knew what it was, so there's a necessary buzz. People were kind of like, okay, well, what is this? This looks interesting. But I'll be honest with you, the biggest bump I seen coming out of that trailer being revealed was the soundtrack, was the song that they used, which is by man, who's Steely Dan. I can't I can't think of the name of the song. Yeah, I'm horrible. I should have researched that before I started. But that's the only thing I remember the most from when that trailer got shown. Right, of course you have anticipation, dude. If you're an Xbox guy and you like to play games online, it looked like something that was going to be similar to Payday, the Payday series and stuff like that Microsoft is going to put out for themselves. Remember, man, the stuff that Microsoft does, they still do. So even though a game like Contraband is no longer there, and I get it, dude. If you were one of those few people that were out there looking forward to this game, I get it because there's games that I like that's on nobody's radar, right? And so when they get canceled, I feel the same way. I'm not trying to. I get it. I understand, right? But at the end of the day, dude, Xbox has so many live service games that they have already, both through the stuff that they develop and the partnerships that they have. Just the other day, the last 2 weeks, I wasn't feeling good, man. So I wasn't going out. I was just staying home. And one of the few things I did was play Xbox, and I was playing Call of Duty again because they had a double XP. I don't know. It was like a week, 2 weeks. I don't know how long that was. Right. So I was leveling up playing that. And then I was looking at their store, and they had some content that I liked, dude. I cashed in some Bing points, and then I turned it in for some Microsoft or for some cloud cash, and then I just bought some skins, dude, which I thought were really cool. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft or Xbox knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing when it comes to this kind of stuff. This is why they dominate when it comes to online shooters. Right? This is why they're able to course correct on certain things and cancel games when they have to. Right? Again, if you're disappointed, I get it. If Fable got canceled, dude, I'd be living. Right? I wouldn't be happy about that. So I get it, dude. I'm not trying to. There's people out there that were probably looking forward to the game, but not so much people that it would draw the type of ire that it and attention that it got. And then again, this is just another thing that you notice when it comes to gaming news media. That's just what they run with, dude. And then you have the haters out there that take it to that extra level. But it's sad that you have an article like this, right, where this guy talks about it, and you know that this person has no clue what Game Pass and all this stuff is all about, right? Because then he goes to a lot of the tried and true stuff, right? He talks about um, let's see, Game Pass in particular. So when it was first unveiled, Xbox Game Pass was seen as Microsoft's secret weapon. It is Microsoft's secret weapon, right? But it's not a secret anymore, right? It's their big gun, if we're being honest. The key selling point for all Xbox consoles, for all Xbox consoles, but in the years that have followed, it's become clear that video game subscriptions in general are not the draw that many imagine. That in fact, relatively few people want a Netflix of game. No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. They have millions upon millions of subscribers. But what people are beginning to realize when it comes to this kind of stuff has nothing to do with Game Pass, right? What a lot of people are going to realize is they're not really gamers. I say that all the time on this channel, right? In order to really enjoy um, a service like Game Pass, you have to be, if you want to get the most out of it. I say this all the time. You have to, like, you can break it down by numbers, or you can say, like, okay, if I pay this much, is how many games I have to play, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the people that really love Game Pass are the people that really love gaming and really love video games. That's what it boils down to. And a lot of people, man, I've said this for a long time, in the gaming space, in this culture that we occupy, this industry especially, right? It's most people are not gamers. They're not. And I'm not saying that to belittle them. They're just not, dude. I mean, a person who likes something, dude, that one thing that they like should kind of occupy a portion of their time, money, and energy, right? I collected comic books. I did that. I was hardcore in that, right? Video games, hardcore in that. Even to some aspects, music, right? Because it's something that becomes a part of your life. That's why I tell you guys on my channel. I tried to give up gaming in certain parts because I was getting older, time to move on, had a family, all this kind of stuff. But it's just something that would always come back. And then I just realized, look, dude, it's just not a hobby, dude. This is my lifestyle, right? And to have that type of lifestyle that's the ultimate. That's the person that will get the ultimate experience with Xbox Game Pass. Now you don't have to be that person. You can do it too. You can do it because of value, right? You can do it because you're short on cash. There's a myriad of reasons why, and that's what people are doing, right? So from the jump, dude, I already see that, and it just regurgitating some of these talking points that people are saying, and basically, it goes back to them even talking about Game Pass in particular as regularly missed growth targets, which I don't think it's growth targets, but it's milestones. I call them milestones, right? Because I'm pretty sure Microsoft had an idea of where you want it to be, especially like the trajectory that they have with Xbox Live, more along those lines, right? But at the end of the day, guys, the economy matters. It does, right? People are nickel and diming every single thing, right? Both in their budget and what's happening to them. Like when you go to the grocery store, dude, things are just way more expensive, right? Now we can have a conversation of why those things are. We won't do that in this video, right? But that's just the reality of it. So people are cutting back. So I don't care how good the service is. At the end of the day, dude, if you got to pay your electric bill, you can't play Game Pass without electricity. You know what I'm saying? Right? So Game Pass in particular has regularly missed growth targets. Disagree with even the inclusion of Call of Duty doing little to boost subscriber numbers. Yeah, that's bogus. That is bogus because they own Call of Duty. It's not just about Game Pass. Call of Duty and Game Pass is the content situation, right? It's the same reason why there's stuff on Netflix you might look at, and then sometimes when the top 10 list comes up, they have that what the couples one or the marriage one or the couples island thing or whatever. And I sit there and I look at it. I'll never watch stuff like that. That's not my cup of tea, right? But obviously there are people that like that. That's why you put this stuff in there, right? The goal with any subscription service is to people to find enough value that they do not unsubscribe, right? And when it comes to Game Pass, there's probably been people that unsubscribe, but it's one of those decisions they make the same way. Like I always make the difference between I like Paramount, right? I like their stuff, but they got put on the back burner because I use Netflix and I use Crunchyroll more, right? Because I'm more into the stuff that Netflix has. Paramount has some great stuff. So what I do is I just let that build up, right? And then when it builds up, then I'll jump on and then I'll watch stuff. right? And there's people doing that all the time, dude. That has nothing to really do with a lot of the services. A lot of it has to do with people's choices and where they're at economically. That's just the simple truth. If the economy was really high right now, dude, Game Pass would be killing it, in my opinion. You can disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. But many also believe Game Pass has done more harm. Here's another one I can't stand. Many also believe Game Pass has done more harm than good to the health of the industry at large. No, no, it has not. Following false narratives has done more harm to um, the gaming industry, right? Biased media has done more harm to the gaming industry, to the health of the gaming industry, right? Developing AAA games that you can't cover the cost and nobody really wanted except the select minority of people that have the loudest microphones, that hurt the gaming industry, right? Going woke hurt the gaming industry. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Game Pass is not that thing, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what pisses me off about narratives like this: is you can buy the game still. It's not like Microsoft puts a game in Game Pass and that's the only place you can play it. Right? Microsoft wants your money no matter how you cut it. If you guys haven't been paying attention, and some of the stuff I have a problem with, what Microsoft does with Xbox, dude, is they put their stuff everywhere, right? And they give you the opportunity to buy their content to put everywhere. So they put it everywhere. So they'll take your money. They don't care where you are, who you are, or where you're at, right? They'll take your money, right? What this exposes is that people don't buy games. I say that all the time. This is what pisses me off about these kind of news articles. Dude, at the end of the day, put the onus on where it belongs. Is that people say they're gamers, but they don't buy games, especially now. In a time when the industry needs to make more money, right? Because costs are up, everything's up, and this has been happening for years, dude. It just didn't happen overnight. It's getting more attention, right? Because things are harder, right? And then these guys they're hurting, right? These games are not selling on the level they expected to, and they won't, dude. Because if people don't have people can't buy stuff if they don't have money, guys. It's really simple, basic math. And then people like me who do, right? Say like you have responsibilities and stuff like that, so you forego other stuff, right? Like I don't go traveling, right? Want to go to Japan, check it out, right? Won't do that right now, right? So there's certain things that I would like go out to eat, right? Like going out to eat is expensive. It's more affordable for me to actually buy a game and enjoy, cook my own dinner at home, right? Manage my food costs that way, and then play my backlog of games, play Game Pass. And I even picked up some games the other day, right? And that's another thing too. It's not just about Game Pass; it's options. You can buy cheap games. You can buy games on sale. Microsoft constantly has sales on their website. Say that all the time. Right? There's ID at Xbox. Some games you can get as cheap as a couple bucks. Other ones are around 29, maybe 39. Some very rarely go into the $40 range, right? But again, that's options, dude. And the reason you have that options is because of Game Pass as well, right? Because you have a bunch of people subscribe to the service that Microsoft is making money on, and that money allows them to experiment and do things that nobody else is doing in the gaming industry. And again, I say this all the time, dude. If this Game Pass was around when I was younger, dude, it would be like it would have been celebrating its 40th anniversary. I just put it to you that way, because that's how much of an impact you could have on the gaming industry, right? But what you're dealing with a lot of times, a lot of these guys, man, they're just zombies, right? All they know is PlayStation. PlayStation is awesome. PlayStation is good. That's why, again, I say this all the time on my channel, dude. I just want PlayStation to go away because it's actually hurting the industry, because they got a lot of sycophant zombie mind people that support their brand but not really gaming. Rosier, or let me see, a new report from Emmanuel Rosier, Director of Marketing Intelligence and Analytical for Newsnews, has examined the influence of Game Pass, found that it has little to no effect on people's playing habits. Rosier appeared on the GameWise podcast to discuss industry trends based on Newsnews research, and one detail he shared was the difference in player behavior between Xbox owners and PlayStation owners, where he found there wasn't really any. And again, remember, dude, that's just an analysis of it. This guy doesn't have the figures. Microsoft does not put that on there. All of this stuff has to be extrapolated to whatever information you put out there, right? So it's the second hand of the second hand to the third power. Is basically when these guys talk. Okay, that's just the reality of it. Despite all the efforts done by Microsoft with Game Pass and the acquisition of many studios and the release of very high quality games in Game Pass, we struggle to find a significant different behavior compared to players on PlayStation, said Rosier. Well, that's because a lot of people on PlayStation, right, play like every other gamer out there. They play certain types of games, so of course they're not going to be a difference. This is why Microsoft bought COD, right? Right? Microsoft bought COD, number one, and I'm not saying that they did this on purpose. I would like to think that they did to cut off Sony's spigot, right? Of the money that they was getting in, and now they get that money, right? The whole thing about this COD stuff, dude, and I'm gonna sit there and tell you, dude, because I don't know if these dudes play COD. I play COD. Right? I think I'm one of the few people in the group of guys that plays COD in our circle of people that play COD, and I've been playing it nonstop, dude. And the amount of stuff I see people spend in that game, because again, there's just like Madden, dude. It's just a person will buy that game and just play that game. Now you can subscribe to Gamepass and play that game, and on top of that, you get the bennies of all the stuff that they buy in the store. And Microsoft has that. They have Overwatch, which I see my daughter does. They have Marvel Rivals, right? It's not their own game, right? But they're getting all this, dude. They're getting money hand over foot and all this stuff that they're doing. And Sony didn't get it because Sony never. They went the other route, dude. They went the route of, oh, what's more important is the story, the AAA story, Sony Studio experience, right? And they were wrong. They bet on the wrong horse, and that's why they're suffering right now. Hopefully, they suffer enough to disappear. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Dude, I have no love for Sony, dude. So if you ever think you're gonna come over here and hear me like extend an olive branch, that's never gonna happen. Like I know everybody's hyped about that Helldivers coming over. Don't care. I mean, it could be a good game. Yeah, fine, dude. But I have like five. Dude, I just played Frag Punk for the first time. Pretty solid game, dude. The only thing I can't figure out, dude, I think I gotta buy the game because I didn't get to use any of the cards because I'm just in lobbies, and the only mode that was available to me was some type of mode where you're like some kind of infection mode. So I don't know if I downloaded the thing right. I don't know. I gotta go look it up. Right, but that's a pretty solid game, dude. When it comes to shooters, Microsoft doesn't hurt for that kind of stuff, right? And the only people I'm seeing excited about Helldivers 2 coming over here, there's Xbox guys that are excited about it, right? But most of those Xbox guys own PlayStations. That's the difference between Xbox and PlayStation gamers. If you guys didn't know that, these dudes already own PlayStations, right? So the ones that really want the Xbox guys to jump on board is the PC dudes. The PC dudes want us to come over so they have a bigger pool to play with, because that's always been one of the Achilles heels of live service games. You need an audience out there, right? And that's why a lot of these games fail because they don't look at that. Can my game sustain an audience? Right? They go straight to the game and then they put their store out there. That's not what people want. If it's good enough, they want. I talked to you guys about Towerborn, dude. I threw them. I probably spent $100 on Towerborn cash just so I can get my stuff. And it's worthy, dude. It's worthy. I don't have no problem paying them for that, dude. It's an awesome game. It's a game I love, right? It's a game that was everything. Exceeded my expectations. And then when I look at the store, and here's the thing, guys. When I look at the store, because as much as I like Killing Floor 2, Killing Floor 2 is one of my favorite games, but their skins were horrible. I would have loved to throw them more money, but they just didn't have any good skins, right? And so when it comes to Towerborn, that's not the problem. Like, almost every single thing they put out there is awesome. And because you can tell that they put a lot of love into it, into the game. Like the creators, I watched an interview with them, dude. This is their baby, and they treat it as such. And then if you're a fan and you like what they're doing, they're definitely gonna like the store, and you're definitely gonna throw them some money. I'm not saying you gotta throw them $100, but you're gonna buy some skins for them because it's that good across the board. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I just needed to get this off my chest because this is so frustrating. Right? These guys just want Game Pass to fail, and the reason they want Game Pass to fail is because it's owned by it's Xbox. It's affiliated with Xbox. Right? But luckily, and especially in this case, right, is Microsoft owns Xbox, and Microsoft is not going to give that up anytime soon. Right? That's why I feel confident about my purchases when it comes to the games. Kind of got sidetracked. I kind of got blindsided by the movie stuff. Anything like that. But when it comes to gaming, man, nobody's touching Xbox right now, especially in this economy, dude. It's not. It's not even a thing. Not even close. This is why they got to make this crap up. All right, sorry guys, I'll go back. Oh, sorry guys, I was on the article. Let me catch up with these comments. Hey, Unlimited, brother. Hey, I seen your video, bro. I didn't watch too much of it, man, because I'm thinking of getting the game. If you guys didn't know, Unlimited is playing the new Mafia game, dude. It looks super cool. Man. It's a great series. It is. I played the first Mafia. I wanted to play the third one, the one where the one I think it was in New Orleans. I mean, though I want to play all of them, dude. Time is an issue though for me. Plus, I'm stuck on COD right now doing stuff. But yeah, dude, that game looks solid, bro. So Unlimited says I need to read this article because wording in these articles tend to be misleading. Microsoft said for years Game Pass subs buy and play more games. Yeah, yeah, they do. That's another thing about these articles. Unlimited. A lot of them, because they don't have the figures. Microsoft doesn't share it, so they don't know. How would they know? Right? Again, they gotta extrapolate it. And analysts do that, dude. I don't know. I'm not trying to down this dude, man. He doesn't probably know anything about gaming, like the guy who wrote this article. The difference is he's not biased, right? He's pulling from what he can. That's what you guys got to realize about analysts. And I'm speaking about that because I want to be an analyst. I went to school for that. So I'm just gonna tell you, man, check your bias at the door, and you gotta do the best job that you possibly can. But this is why you're an analyst and not the person that makes the final decision in a lot of these situations. What's up, Tool Man, brother? Thanks for being here. Just a real quick just wanted to get this video out there. My son did one for a little while. Unlimited says Game Pass is $240 a year if you play just four AAA games. Four AAA $70 games a year, you got your money's worth off that alone. Yeah, Unlimited, 100%. Plus you get the discounts. Plus you get the bennies. Right? I just got a pair. Well, what did I download? I think I downloaded something from Black Desert the other day. On top of the fact they have sales. But it is about the access, dude. That's what irks me, man, because people do that with Netflix all the time. They do it with Netflix all the time. It's basically the Game Pass is basically the Netflix model. And if you don't like Game Pass, then just go buy the game. But you guys don't buy the game. That's why these dudes are raising the prices and they're trying to go back and fix. Like if they could go back in time, they would, man, and they would have died off. They would have killed off that narrative a long time ago because it's costing them money, especially with Sony. Dude, they have nothing. They have nothing right now. That's why that COD purchase. That was a big reason that Microsoft bought COD. Or that was good. I don't know. I would like to think so. Maybe that's not their reason, but I think it was great that they bought COD because that killed. And that's funny to me. Look, they'll acknowledge how much money COD was making for PlayStation, but they won't acknowledge how much money Game Pass is making for Xbox. Yeah, 100% unlimited. Unlimited production. If you only played Avowed, COD, Doom, and the Outer Worlds 2 in 2025 and nothing else, you got your money's worth. As buying those four games on its own is $280. Game Pass is $40 cheaper. Yeah, 100%. I played Avowed. I played COD. I'm gonna probably play Outer Worlds 2. Haven't played Doom, probably because I won't be able to because I get sick. But what else have I played? South of Midnight, Forza. Um, there's on the top of my head 10 AAA games that I played. A couple of the stuff on my backlog that I already own the games and they came to Game Pass. Stuff in my I'll include those, and the amount of indie games that I bought. I just played on Game Pass, but bought right because I liked it so much. Right, and that's because of Game Pass. Sega Man says, "What's up, Sega Forever?" Hey, what's up, Sega Man? Great video the other day, brother. I watched it. Sorry I didn't comment on it. I was going to appointments, man. Your boy was hurting. But thanks for being here, brother. What's up, Unlimited Productions? Sega Man says, "Hey, what's up, Gogo?" Yeah, yeah, dude. I saw that article and I was just laughing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it must be a slow news day." Game Pass is killing gaming. And that's the funny thing about it, because we've done this before. Again, when we had demo discs, right? That's one of the great things about it, and the reality of it for some of the developers, and they understand this, especially the ones that deal with Microsoft closely. They understand that not everybody's going to like their game, right? Because some people, when they make a game, they make a specific game, especially in the indie department, guys. They want to make the game that they want to make. What Game Pass allows them to do is get eyes on their game, right? To find an audience. That's one of the good things about Game Pass. I bought so many games and kind of changed my opinions on certain genres because of Game Pass. Go. Yeah, sorry, Gogo. I was reading the article, so I was offline. By the way, Nine Kings on Game Pass is awesome. I have not played that yet. Thank you for the reminding me. Gogo, I gotta get it. I know it came out. I think is that on PC though, or is that on actual Xbox? Google Post says Mafia 2 is great. Yeah, all the Mafia games I know. When Mafia dropped back in, I think it's on Game Pass, right? I played it, but I own the game. I got it on the 360. Those articles, Google posters, those articles are clickbait for ponies. It's the same old poop. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Not gonna disagree, brother. 100%. But yeah, guys, thanks. I have to go. Sorry, I know this is a short one. I know I gotta get the podcast rolling, dude. But guys, sorry, I got a lot of appointments that I gotta go to. Your boy's not getting any younger. So for all you young guys out there that listen to this, man, take care of your bodies. Because later on, man, even if you're in your 20s, especially, take advantage of that time. Look into preventative care. Highly recommend you guys do that. Look at eating clean, right? Because it's just like any other thing. Like your body's a machine, and over time, dude, just it starts to fall apart. Right? We're not eternal in this physical form. So yeah, definitely keep track of your guys' health. Have a balance, man. Right? Just like with me, I want to go play some games. I got some cleaning up to do. Got to prep my stuff for tomorrow. All of that stuff, right? But yeah, Global man, thanks for being here, brother. Sega man as well. Unlimited and Tool man, thank you for dropping by. Um, just want to keep it, well, not sure it is half an hour. But I just wanted to talk about this. I had to kind of get it off my chest. Plus to get the truth out there, guys. That's what the channel's all about here. Right? Keeping these guys honest. Okay? So Xbox on the channel. We'll Sega forever. We out.